I'm Nicolette, and today Brian and I are here with Randy McNeely. He is the kindness giver, and you guessed it, he's going to talk to us a little bit about kindness today. Hi, Randy. How are you? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on today. It's a real privilege.
So, Randy, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got this title, the kindness giver.
Well, so I am a father of five. I have four girls and a boy, and I'm married to an amazing lady that just, when I'm around her, I can't help but want to be kind because she's one of the nicest people on the planet. So you know, it's been a long journey. But just to keep it short, like we were just talking about, short and simple is I've always wanted to have an impact on people. I've been blessed in my life, when I've had some real challenges, to have wonderful people that have, been there for me, have been good friends, have strengthened me, lifted me, helped me. And I just, because of that, I want to give back. I want to, I love people. I want to help people. I want to inspire people. I want to make a difference for good. And I firmly believe I can. And if I can inspire other people to do the same thing, then, I've met my mission in life.
That's awesome. Now, Randy, some people might say, and you wrote about this last year actually on LinkedIn, about how kindness and your mission in general may not be profitable. So what's your response to people who think, we've heard, nice guys finish last and all these terrible things that people say, but if you're from a business perspective, how do you respond to something like that?
That's an interesting question. At the time when the thing that led to that article, I was on a trip and I was in the Phoenix airport, and I ended up talking with these two ladies and tell them a little bit about some of my crazy ideas about kindness. And one lady immediately piped up, "But kindness isn't profitable." And at the time, I really didn't know what to say to her because I hadn't thought about it that much. But I can give a solid answer now. The real thing to think about is, and the argument that I make is, kindness is the greatest untapped economic power on the planet. And here's why I say that. Think about this. If you can establish a culture in your organization where people feel respected, where they feel heard, where they feel like you have a cause worth working for, and so what's going to happen to their happiness level within the organization? It's going to go up. They feel like they can talk to their boss. If they feel like their boss is not their boss, let me rephrase that. Their manager is their mentor, their coach, helping them to learn and understand their responsibilities, empowering them to fulfill them, and giving them opportunities to stretch. Their happiness level is going to go up. When their happiness level goes up, let me add on to that, their loyalty level is going to go up. Mm-hmm. Loyalty level is going to go up. So when that happens, how are they going to treat your customers? They're going to work their tails off. Because if they believe in your cause, they're going to work their tails off to make sure that the customers are happy. Mm-hmm. When you have satisfied customers, what happens to your opportunities?
Goes up.
Your opportunities always go up. They always go up. And when your opportunities goes up, what happens to your bottom line? It goes up. Prosperity comes. And you really don't even have to focus on the bottom line. It just kicks off the cycle. You focus on ensuring that you have a good quality product, a good cause that your company is trying to meet. Here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. Here's how we're doing it. And here's the role that you play in that. You get that into that. You get that into your employees' hearts, and they know you care about them, and they look forward to coming to work because they there's a good, genuine, friendly culture there. Your business is going to thrive.
So we've seen a lot in a lot of marketing now, right? People are sort of sharing their mission, their companies. They share what their mission is, of sort of that giving back or what they stand for. Do you see that grow? Like, I feel like we see more and more companies pointing to that. Do you see that growing, like companies sharing that with not just their employees, but with consumers?
I see them doing that, and there's a good reason to do that, and hopefully it's genuine. There is a concern. You're always going to have a concern that somebody's, I'm a corporate, I'm socially responsible. I meet my corporate social responsibility requirements. I'm doing this, and this. Mm-hmm. You find out if you go inside the workplace that it's one of the most toxic places on the planet to work. But you know, if it's genuine, I see it growing like crazy. And you know, there's a great book out there. It's called the Profit of Kindness. And right now, of course, my brain is going blank on the name of the author, but it is a great book, and it establishes the fact that kindness is the new currency. Honestly, if think about it, if you have employees that are loyal to you,
Hmm.
attrition level goes down. Companies every year you lose, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars because of attrition, because people leave. And you think about if you have employees that are loyal to you and they talk about your company, you've got there's so many so many places on the internet that people can write,
Hmm.
give reviews about your company, Glassdoor and other Indeed and other places. And when people go and look for a job in today's digital world, they're always looking for what your reputation is.
Hmm.
And if they know you have a good reputation, they're going to be wanting to come and work with you, and you're going to be able to attract the best talent. And there's a lot of reason for that to grow.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, Randy, what do you do to spread this kindness? I know you have a book, right? You wrote a book, the Kindness Givers Formula, correct?
I have a book called The Kindness Givers Formula. Yeah.
And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. But you also have this reality TV show, correct?
I have a reality TV show, I should say, that I'm working to bring to fruition. I've got a sizzle reel. I'm working really hard right now. I just met with some potential investors last week, potential sponsors. I'm working really hard to get it off the ground, but it's not quite there yet.
So, let's talk about that for a second, because, the reality TV that we're used to is pretty,
Not kind.
yeah, not kind. So how is this a little bit different?
Well, interestingly, what I'm going to do, my concept is, I want to spotlight individuals just like you and me, ordinary individuals, but who have faced some tremendous challenges and difficulties, and they've faced them with courage, and they've triumphed in the face of those challenges. And they haven't let their challenges get them down, but instead they've used them as stepping stones to create some amazing organizations that are really blessing other people's lives. So I'm going to spotlight the people, then I'm going to showcase their organizations, going to get it out there on the air. Okay, here's the needs these guys have. Here's how they made it here. Here's some things they overcome. Here's the hope that we can give to you, the audience, that if you're going through any of the same challenges they had, you can overcome them.
Mm-hmm.
You can rise above them. And then here's what their current needs are. Here's an opportunity for you as the audience to get involved. If you're in their local area, reach out at this number. You can volunteer. You can do, depending on what their needs are. If you have the skill set that will meet those needs, then you can get in touch with them, and you have the chance to give some service and give something back, or pay it forward, if you will. And we're also going to have some fun, a little bit of fun service-based competition interspersed with that. So we give the organizations that we're presenting, we'll have 2 per episode, give them an opportunity to have a little bit of fun service-based competition that will have an impact on the communities where we're filming.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, let them win a little bit of cash money that will help them out. And then we're going to give our audience the opportunity to vote with their dollars. To say, hey, if this resonated with you, here's the donate. We're going to have a Kindness Funders website. Here's a place you can go donate, and 100% of the proceeds are going to go straight to those organizations. So that's where it's different, because it's our whole goal, our whole mission is to remind people there's still a lot of hope out there. There's still a lot of good people doing great things. And it doesn't take, you don't have to create an organization to be able to do good things. When we're doing our little service competitions and stuff, people will be able to see simple things that, hey, I can do that. I can do that. The real idea is to remind people that kindness is an action verb. And when you give kindness, it releases serotonin, it releases chemicals in your body, that give you what they call the happiness high. But that's a great thing. But when you give kindness to other people, there's nothing like seeing the light come on in people's faces. And it doesn't have to be anything grandiose. It can just be a simple thing. Like, Nicolette, I love that shirt. You look nice today. You've got a nice smile. or whatever. Brian, I love the tattoos. I love the hat. You know, it doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be
Right. Yeah.
simple things like holding the door, or just a simple word of appreciation, a thank you. Those make major differences. And if we can inspire our audience to just start taking kindness action and think about every day doing things that are kind, think about the transformational effect that could have. If you've got hundreds or thousands or even I'll dare say millions of people getting up every day, maybe even billions. I'll be bold enough to say billions, getting up every day and thinking, what can I do today to be kind? Think about how that would change things.
So, I just thought of something. Brian and I were talking last week about how, this was inspired by this episode of Friends for me. So I was watching this episode where, Phoebe's trying to do these nice things and she says, everything is selfish. Really, even the good things you do, you get some sort of good feeling. And it kind of always, like, you can't do anything selfless really, because you somehow benefit from it. I mean, do you think that's true? Do you think that everything we do, even when we're doing kind things, we're reaping the benefits? Like, is our society still really selfish that we do nice things because we want that pat on the back or we want that acknowledgement?
I think there's people out there who do that, but if you're giving genuine kindness, you're not thinking about what you're going to get in return. It always comes back though. It always does. It always boomerangs.
I agree. I remember when Nicolette and I were having a conversation, my dad used to tell me when I was a kid, like, if you do something, do good things, but do it. But if you sit there and you start telling everyone about the good things you did, you didn't do it because you wanted to do a good deed. You did it because you wanted to show people you were a good person, right? So, he used to, for us, he used to be like, okay, do kind things, but, you're not supposed to sit there and be like, oh, here, look at me. I'm so special because I did these nice things. Do it because you want to do it. Like you're saying, do it out of the genuineness of your heart. And I'm a believer too in kindness. And I always, like, if I do something nice for someone's like, oh, how can I pay you back? It's like, no, just do it for someone else. Do you know what I mean? Just do it for someone else. Move it forward.
That's what the Giver's Formula is all about. And it's a simple 4-step formula that anybody can put into practice. I mean, every day, get up and determine, I'm going to be kind today. I'm going to be a kindness giver. And then take just a few minutes. Take 5 or 10 minutes, however long you need to take, and just think about who you're going to be with, where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, and think about potential opportunities to be kind in those situations. And I say potential because we never know. We may have things planned out in our mind, but things may not go the way that we're expecting them to. And they never, 99 times out of 100, they never do. But then you've thought about those things. Then you go out and you actively look. I invite people to put their kindness antennas up, what I call, be actively looking, intentionally looking for opportunities to give kindness. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it can be simple things, saying hi, saying thank you, holding the door, telling somebody they look nice, whatever it might be. And then the final thing, after you've gone through the day, you've acted on the opportunities that have presented themselves, then invite and encourage other people to do the same thing, just like you were just talking about. Mm-hmm. Pay it forward, invite people. Now, I talk about, I share examples when I write about kindness and stuff. I share some personal examples, and I don't do it for self-aggrandizement purposes, not to say, hey, look at me. you want to be my friend? I'm
No, I know. Yes,
I do it only to say, hey, this happened to me yesterday. I was able to do this. You can do the same thing. It's that easy. It's so, but it's a great opportunity when we take advantage of it to make a difference for ourselves and for others and for ourselves, even though we're not looking for it. It always comes back, like we said.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think, we talked a little bit about, sort of like, the work environment, right? Do you think people, even personally, I guess it's not even work, but due to like the, remoteness, right? Like there's a lot of remote workers now, or there's a lot of people, even from social media, that people just are do you think it impacts like the kindness? Does it make people less kind because they're sort of, keyboard warriors or whatever you call them, right? They're hiding behind, they're not there in front of you, or, do you think any of that has to play with how society has changed over the last 20 years?
Oh my goodness. I mean, you just hit the nail on the head. I mean, we live in a digital age where electronically we're more connected than we've ever been in history. But emotionally and spiritually, I'll say,
Mm-hmm.
we're more disconnected than we've ever been in history.
Mm-hmm.
And because we become keyboard warriors. We're sitting at our desks. I think that's contributed a lot to the obesity issue too. I mean, because we're a lot more sedentary than we used to be. The thing that's a real challenge is with social media and all that stuff. You've got people who hide behind face masks. They hide behind masks, the mask of a username, and they will say things that are more vitriolic and critical and sarcastic and nasty
Mm-hmm.
than they ever did before, and that they wouldn't say to you face to face or say to people face to face. And so now, yeah, I really think that has contributed to the real challenges, that some of the challenges we have in our society. We talk about physical climate change all the time.
Right.
What we don't talk about, you never hear this term, it's something I started to use, is societal climate change.
Mm-hmm.
We see, we all have some needs, basic needs. Every one of us has. We need light. We need hope. We need love. We need unity. We need peace. We all seek those things in our lives, but they're being displaced
Mm-hmm.
at an exponential rate. You see darkness, you see despair, you see hate, you see divisiveness, you see contention. We get a nearly 24/7/365 diet of downer fodder on the networks and stuff like
Right.
that. I mean, that's another big reason why I'm really working hard to bring reality, bring the kindness centers to life.
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't believe the number of people I talk to. I talk to them about my show, what I want to do, and everybody's like, "Oh man, I don't let my kids watch TV or reality TV or things like that because it's just there's so much negativity. But I would let them watch that show. I hope you get it on the air."
Absolutely. Yeah. Agree.
So
then, originally I was going to ask you a little bit about, what people can do, what us humans can do to be kinder, in the world. But, what can we do, to Brian's point then, digitally to be kinder, in this digital age then? For me, I find myself sometimes very short with people, that I would probably normally talk to, if they were in front of me. I would say some things, maybe even say something nice if I saw them, or, but digitally I'm just, okay, or that's great, thank you, I mean, and it's not a thank you, like, thank you so much. That's very kind. It's very, robotic in a sense.
Right. You're like TY.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. So what can we do to kind of express that kindness if we are more virtual?
That's an interesting question. I've been there. I had some real challenges for a long time
Mm-hmm.
with just being very direct and kind of terse in my emails.
Mm-hmm.
I got in trouble for that a few times. So for me personally, I have to stop and think. Okay, why did they just say what they said, or what did they really mean by that? I have to stop and think about, okay, how would I want to be talked to or responded to if I was on the other end of this? Mm-hmm. The key thing is to remember that there's a human being on the other end of that mm-hmm. digital, link, that digital connection, that email, whatever it is, that message. And try to, I'm really trying hard to look at everything I do through the lens of kindness. What could I say to them? What can I do? Not to be religious or anything, but there is one thing that I learned when I was young, is a soft answer turneth away wrath. And it really does. If somebody's angry and you can maintain your calmness, when you're physically with them, it has a tendency to help them calm down. And we see that all the time in various situations. It's the same thing when we're writing.
Mhm.
If we can think, okay, there's another human on the other side of this. If I can maintain my calmness, if I can, maintain my respect and then I can probably make the best of this. There's times when I have to just get up and walk away for a while.
Mhm.
Or, there's times when I really wanted to say something nasty to somebody because they were just being a jerk.
Right.
And I've typed up my response, and then I just leave it there.
Mhm.
I send it, I leave it there, and I walk away for a while, and I come back later when I'm calmed down, and I usually end up just deleting it and sending something else. So I don't
You're
know.
right. You have a really good point about hiding behind the masks, of whatever, social, a phone, an email, because, I see I've said things in a text message that I would not say if I was in front of someone face to face, I mean, it gets, so what I've learned to do is actually tap into people that I love and trust and text them those awful things that I was going to tell someone else, and then if I still feel, if I still feel that way hours later, then maybe I will send it, but just direct it somewhere else and hear it out loud and let someone else read that, that way, because
Always preface it with venting.
what'd you say?
I said always preface it with venting. I'm venting.
Yes, yes. It's just even type up the actual thing that I want to say and just so that I get it out. It's no different than writing it down, I guess.
Yes, it's a good thing to get that, and because we all, when you have poison in your system, which it really is, anger and resentment are poison to our system. When you have poison in your system, you try to get it out as quick as possible, right?
Mhm.
I have to type up things and write up things all the time. Abraham Lincoln used to do that. He used to, he I'm trying to remember where I heard that one of his, I don't remember if it was one of his sons or one of his colleagues or something after he had been, after he passed away, found several letters to people in the field or whatever that he had never sent, written up, gotten what he wanted to say out on the letter and then never sent it. Something that helps me. I am so fortunate to be married to an amazing woman.
Mhm.
Is one of the kindest people on the planet, and I just learned that her input improves my output.
Mhm.
So if I have something I'm writing, if I'm responding to someone who has kind of not been so nice when they've written to me, I'll run it by her.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, she'll say, "Nah, don't say that."
Good idea, Randy.
I guess both of you are saying the same thing, right? You're sending it to a third party,
Right.
because you're trying to remove your emotions from it,
Yeah.
and send it to that third party to go, hey, am I right here, or not even that, just hear me out, make sure I'm not,
Now, what about practicing kindness when you are angry at someone? I've heard that's been suggested to me at times. Do something kind for that person if you really want to strangle them, and and it's so difficult to do.
But what if they want
Have you found it effective?
It's interesting because I have 5 kids, and so and teenagers and adults, how they always get along, right? Harmonious, totally, everything's. Truth be told, I do get along pretty well with my kids, but they try your patience sometimes, and my kids try mine. Or sometimes I feel like I woke up with one nerve and they were standing on it after I woke up with that nerve, But I've found that I have to practice what a good friend of mine, my partner, a guy named Dr. Ilya Gorgoras. He's the author of a book called The 7 Paths to Lasting Happiness. And he shares a little story in there about this lady who was trying to lose weight. And every time she went to eat something that she knew she shouldn't eat, she put into practice what she called the NIMBY principle. It's called not in my best interest. And you can do the same thing when it comes to being angry at somebody. And it's not easy. I mean, I have to practice this. When one of my kids, when I've asked them to do something and they just sit there and kind of ignore me for a while, I have to remember that getting upset with them isn't gonna make the situation any better. It's not in my best interest to get upset.
Mhm.
Because I won't keep my relationship with them good, and I won't feel good. I don't feel good when I get upset. And so sometimes I have to just turn around and walk away. Just turn around and walk away for a little while. I'll not say anything. Because if I say something in the moment, in the anger, I'm going to regret it. And we've all been there. We've all been there. But I take a breath, and I think what is in my best interest, what's the kinder option, and then I try to do that. Am I perfect at it? Heck no. I do and say dumb things all the time, but I'm trying to get better at it. And that's what I would encourage people, just keep trying, you know. And it's amazing how relationships will change and improve. Honestly, since I've really been trying hard to be the kindness giver, and if I'm going to take that mantra, if you will, if I'm going to use that as my brand, I have to walk the walk. I can't just talk the talk. And since I've written this book, and I've been really trying very hard to put the kindness giver's formula into action in my own life, it's been amazing. My relationship with my wife has gotten better. Not that it was terrible before, but it's gotten better because I'm noticing things that I can do to be kind for her that were right in front of my face before that I wasn't doing.
Mhm.
And with my kids, it's the same thing. I'm more patient. Am I always more patient? No, but I'm becoming more patient, and I'm thinking of ways to respond to them that are less confrontational
Mhm.
than they may have been in the past. And so our relationships are improving. So that's probably a $10,000 answer to a 5-cent question, but there you go.
Well, Randy, quick story, real quick, before we let you go. I asked that question because years ago I was in a car with a friend of mine. We were at a toll booth, and the toll booth worker was very mean. It's a mean person. And he looked up at her and he said, "Do you need a hug?" And whether or not he was really going to hug her, but she laughed, and she loosened up, and that, and it changed that interaction, which was, not very long, but it changed that interaction. And I started thinking, is that a real thing? If you offer that kindness to someone who's not in a good place, maybe that shifts the focus or shifts the mood.
Well, and I think it really does, especially if someone can I share just a quick story? There's a beautiful connection of mine, wonderful lady on LinkedIn, and she wouldn't want me to use her name, but she's a wonderful connection of mine. When she was a teenager, she was a counselor in a Bible camp, and there were these two boys. They were twins, and one of them was laid back, easygoing. Everybody liked to be around him. The other one, twin brother, cussed, swore every other word, and angry, yelling at people, grumpy all the time. And so, after about 30 minutes at the camp, from the beginning of the camp, nobody wanted to have this kid in their group, right? Well, she said, "No, I'll take him," because she liked to learn how to people tick. She wanted to understand why he did what he did. She's only 15. She's, "I've been this way all my life. So I don't know why it is, but I like understanding why people do the things they do, what makes them tick." Mm-hmm. So she took him into her under her wing, and after a couple of days, she said things weren't really getting, they were okay, but they weren't getting that much better. And finally, after she'd gotten upset with him because he'd been swearing at her and stuff like that, she took him, said, "Okay, I'm going to make you a deal. See that stump over there? There's a big stump in the middle of this field. If you start swearing, you're going to go sit on the stump. And if I get upset with you, about anything, about your swearing or whatever, I'm going to go sit on the stump." Well, within 10 minutes, she says, it couldn't have been 10 minutes or that both of them were sitting on the stump. And she said to this boy, he's only 11 or 10, something like that. She says, why do you act the way you do? Why do you treat people the way you do? Why do you swear so much and cuss people out? And he just sat there for a minute, and she could tell. She's like, just feel him thinking. She's like, he wasn't saying anything, but he just had this look on his face, like he was stewing. And finally he says, I'm just angry. I'm angry at the world. My mother's a drug addict. She dumped us on my grandma. My grandma can barely take care of us. I'm hurt. I hurt. I'm angry. And she listened to him. And she let him talk. She said pretty soon after, the next day and later that day, so the stump wasn't a punishment place anymore, where they went to talk. And she listened to this boy, and she became his friend. And he opened up to her. Well, get to the end, fast forward to the end of the week. They have this big talent show and everything, and we're all done. This little boy, jumps up and says, "Hey, I need to make an announcement." And, everybody else is like, "Oh man, this is the cussing boy. This, what's he gonna say?" And my friend's sitting there thinking, "Oh my word, what is he gonna say?" He says, "I need," and I'm gonna call her Beth. "I need Beth to come up to the front here. I want to say something, and I have something for her." So here they are, and they're up in front of this whole crowd, and this little boy pulls out a friendship bracelet.
Oh.
He says, "I want to give this to you. And thank you for caring about me, for being my friend." And of course, she started crying and giving him a big hug and everything. But and that was the difference she made in his life, because she cared, because she took the time to listen. It totally diffused his anger. And toward the end of the week, he was swearing less. He was less angry. And his grandmother came and hugged Beth and gave her and just says, "I don't know what you did, but you made a big difference for him." She told me she lost track of them. It was when it was before the digital age, and she didn't think to get his address or their address or anything. So she has no idea, whatever happened to those boys afterwards. But when she told me that, I said, I can guarantee you one thing: that young man will never, ever, ever forget you. He will never forget you. The kindness you've shown him will ripple through time, and it will be passed on. It'll be passed on to others. Kindness, can make a difference. It can diffuse a situation. And, I could go on. I've got a bunch of other stories, but I won't take any more time. You guys have been awesome today.
Andy, where can everybody find out more about you? Where can they get your book? Tell us.
They can go to randymcneely.com. Right on the front page, there's a link. My book is there. It talks about what it's all about. And they can click on the link and go to, it takes them straight to Amazon, or they can go straight to Amazon and just do a search for the Kindness Givers Formula. As soon as they type in the Kindness Givers, it'll come up. And so that's where they can find it. And they can find out more about me, read my bio and things on randymcneely.com. Hopefully soon, I'll be doing a little bit of speaking and have some opportunities for people to invite me to do that as well. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Randy.
Yes, Randy, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Nicolette.